What is up, guys? 70 Savage here. Today we have a very exciting video. We are going to be going over the best possible controller binds so that you too can be goated on the sticks. So if you've been keeping up with the competitive scene in Fortnite recently, you've probably seen more and more controller players rise to the top. They are absolutely beaming other players. That kind of put me over the tipping point of switching to controller. I've been playing on mouse and keyboard gaming my entire life, and I'm probably older than yo grandpappy, and it's really been a fun experience to switch over to controller. The controller gaming experience is just so much different than mouse and keyboard. It is much more chill. You feel like you can kind of just kick back and play casually. That being said, there are absolutely better ways to set up your controller so that you can get the most out of it. All right, so for this video, we are going to be using the Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. It is just a regular Xbox controller plus the paddles on the back. A lot of the tips that you're gonna see here apply to both regular controllers as well as 2-paddle controllers, but for the best possible experience, especially with games like Fortnite, you really wanna be going with those 4 paddles, unless you're a crazy person playing claw and wanna not be able to use your hands after age 25. I will put a link to this controller as well as some cheaper alternative 4-paddle controllers in the description below. All right, so in order to create the best possible controller binds, I followed 3 main principles. Principle number 1 is I wanted to be able to keep my thumbs on the sticks as much as possible. Anytime you're taking your thumb off the sticks to do an action, you're reducing your ability to either aim or move, which is a big no-no in competitive gaming. Principle number 2 is maximizing my accuracy while moving. Now that includes both jumping and crouching. I wanted to be able to maximize the ability to use my right stick consistently so that I can bop kids straight on the head. And finally, principle number 3, I did want to maximize my compatibility with other games. Although Fortnite is my favorite game and I actually play that exclusively right now, in the future I'm gonna wanna play other games and I'm not gonna wanna relearn my binds. So the very first binds that we need to talk about are the paddles. When you buy a controller like the Xbox Elite Series 2, you get 4 paddles. Each one of those paddles can bind to one of the buttons on the face of the controller. So flipping the controller over here, I have these left paddles here, the upper left paddle and the lower left paddle, bound to both A and B. A being the upper one and B being the lower one. As for the right paddles on this side right here, I have D-pad left bound to the right upper paddle, and I have D-pad right bound to the bottom right paddle. Now that we've covered the paddle remapping, let's go into Fortnite and check what our actual binds look like. All right, so diving right in here, first thing we're gonna start off with is the combat controls. So LT and RT I have as aim down sights and shoot. I have the bumpers as previous and next weapons. Let's just start on the left side here. Up D-pad for inventory, that is the closest button to the left joystick, which I do actually have to take my hand off the joystick for, but it's usually not a pressing combat type of action. I then have switch mode and edit as left and right D-pad, but if you can remember, left and right D-pad are my paddles here. So switch mode is the top right paddle, and edit in all of my different modes is the bottom right paddle right here. When I press the left stick, it takes out my pickaxe, and I actually have that consistent across all of my modes as well. Moving over to the right side here, I don't have Y bound. I do have X bound to reload and also to interact if I hold it down. That's really helpful because it is actually the closest button to this right joystick here. Moving down from there, we have crouch and jump as A and B. But if you remember, I bound these 2 paddles right here to A and B. So A is my jump and B is my crouch. Therefore, when I'm jumping or when I'm crouch spamming, I never have to take my hands off of the sticks. All right, so let me show you guys a little example of that here. A lot of people, what they'll do when they rebind crouch is they'll bind it to the press of the right joystick. But if I show you guys, crouch is my marker, so don't mind the spamming of marks happening here. If I'm trying to make smooth circles while pressing the right joystick, it definitely affects my aim. Now I'm gonna use the bind that I have, which is my lower left paddle. If I want to crouch spam and make smooth circles here, it's much more consistent and much easier. So you're going to be absolutely clapping kids when you're doing Bloom Battle crouch spams. So next up we have the build controls here. When I do switch mode using my paddle into build mode, I have the default build binds on the triggers and the bumpers. So I have stair piece as LT, wall piece as RT, roof as the left bumper and floor is the right bumper. A difference here is in build mode, instead of reload, since you obviously don't have your gun out, I have X bound to trap picker, place and interact. The only other difference that I have is change material. I found myself changing mats a lot while I'm in like mid build battle or in sweaty endgame lobbies. So it's nice to have that on the stick. Finally, we are going to move over into edit controls here. Most of the things are consistent, so I'm gonna go over only the things that are inconsistent or new in the edit controls. First off, we have reset as left trigger right here. Since we have edit as bottom right bumper, we have confirm as top right bumper. My edit reset confirm is bang, 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 bang. It goes really, really quickly. You can reset builds on a whim. And since it does involve two hands, you can tap those in succession very, very quickly. One thing I forgot to mention is that A and B are typically the default crouch and jump binds in most other games. And since we have remapped A and B, I can use the left paddles and still have that consistent aim and also the consistent muscle memory that I've been practicing in Fortnite. All right, guys, so that actually sums it up for the binds themselves. Now I want to go ahead and give you guys a brief demo of what it looks like using these binds in creative mode. So I'm not going to talk much during this demo, but just take note on how often my fingers are on the sticks. In fact, I don't think the fingers come off the sticks a single time while I'm cranking creative builds, and that is actually pretty consistent with how it is in game. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My only goal is that this made at least one of you guys better at Fortnite. If you are not a subscriber yet, go ahead and slap that subscribe button below. If you've made it this far in the video, you might as well slap that like button below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time.